Riya had always been fascinated by old things, vintage clocks, dusty books, faded photographs. So, when she moved into her grandmother's ancestral house in the small town of Darvel, she considered it a gift. The house, though a little worn, had charm, wooden floors that creaked with secrets and rooms that echoed with memories. She came to the house after her grandmother passed away, leaving her the property. Her parents were long gone, and she found solace in solitude. Riya, a writer, believed that the house's age and silence would help her finish her long-overdue novel. The first few days were peaceful. She set up her writing desk by the window overlooking the garden, where marigolds still bloomed wildly. But as the days passed, she noticed something strange. Every morning, a letter appeared at her doorstep. At first, she thought it was a mistake. But the envelope was always blank, the handwriting inside always the same. Elegant, cursive, and old-fashioned. The content, however, was what shook her. The first letter read, "To the one who sees, not everything is buried in dust. Some stories scream in silence. Listen." Puzzled, Riya thought it might be a prank, perhaps from a neighbor or a friend who knew about her love for mystery. But she knew no one in Darvel. She tried to ignore it, but the letters didn't stop. Each morning, a new one arrived, always carrying messages that felt more personal than the last. They were cryptic but emotional. Some mentioned feelings of regret, loss, and betrayal. Some spoke of love. Deep, aching love that had been abandoned. By the seventh letter, Riya was unnerved. She waited still, in the walls, in the dark corners. Her story was never told. "You must write it." That night, Riya couldn't sleep. The wind whispered against the window panes, and the floorboards groaned like voices trying to speak. Restless, she wandered into the attic, a place she had avoided so far. The attic was cluttered. Old trunks, dusty paintings, and broken lamps filled the space. As she rummaged through one of the trunks, she found an old diary. The cover was cracked, and the pages yellowed with age. It belonged to a woman named Alina. The diary told a haunting story. Alina had lived in the same house nearly a century ago. She had fallen in love with a young man named Amon, a poet who promised her a life of adventure and verse. But their love was forbidden. Alina was from a respected English family, and Amon was the son of the housemaid. Despite the opposition, they planned to run away. But on the night of their escape, Alina disappeared. The last diary entry read, "Tonight we leave. I will never look back. He waits under the moonlight by the old well. This house will not hold me any longer." But history had no record of Alina after that. No one knew what happened to her. Riya, chilled to the bone, went to the garden the next morning and searched for the well. Overgrown with weeds and hidden under vines, she finally found it, a few meters from the marigolds. Something compelled her to look inside. The well was dry, but as she shined her phone's flashlight down, something glinted. With help from a local handyman, they retrieved a small, rusted box from the bottom. Inside were two things: an old silver locket with Alina's initials and a final letter. The letter read, "They found out. They stopped me. Amon waited, but I never came. They locked me away, deep within these walls. I wrote, hoping someone would read. Now you have. Finish what I could not." Tears welled up in Riya's eyes. The silence in the house suddenly made sense. It wasn't empty. It was waiting. That night, she sat at her desk and began to write. Not her novel, not fiction, but Alina's story. Each word felt guided. Each sentence came naturally. It was as if Alina was whispering it to her. For weeks, Riya wrote. The letters stopped arriving, and the house grew warmer. The shadows didn't feel as cold, and the wind outside hummed instead of howled. When the story was finished, Riya published it as The Silent Letter. It became a sensation, praised for its depth and emotional truth. But Riya knew it was more than fiction. It was a soul's final wish. On the day the book was released, she placed a copy at the old well, wrapped in marigolds, and whispered, "You are remembered." That night, for the first time, the house slept peacefully. And so did Riya.